Welcome to the weekly chart review, Forex edition. Well, I'm going to make this short and sweet this time. There are several trades that we set up last week. Some went beautifully, some were duds. Good ones so far. Aud Cad looking pretty good. Currently 100 pips in profit, so that's just slightly more than 2 to 1. It dropped very significantly around here, but really pulled up on that specific day. And original entry was really nice, but it kind of went right back to break even. So I have a feeling that this is going to start climbing only because Australia is releasing their bank rates on our Monday. So it's going to be a little dicey. Personally, if I would still be in this trade, I would very likely close it off. So I'm going to call it quits on this guy. We'll see if it keeps going, actually. I'm curious about that, but I'm going to, the curiosity isn't going to keep me in it anyway. So that'll be the end of this. I have a feeling that the bottoms are kind of in on this particular pair. And everything's been hugging this line, struggling to break through, finally break through, but really sharp move upwards now. It won't close below it. So good chance that this will start going up. It's not making any new lows or new highs. It's just kind of consolidating long term. So, pardon me. So I'm going to stay out. Let's see, Aud Jpy. Similar idea with here. I originally believed that it was going to start climbing. And again, it's been a really interesting week for the JPY pairs. Very strong yen, even though that they're not really increasing bank rates. I have a feeling that this is just a forced move in order to take it higher. Okay, let's see where we're sitting right now on the AUD. We take it on the daily. Here we go. Okay, so this is what I see happening on the daily time frame. So if I take the fib extension and this high to this low to this high, you can see that it's sitting right at the cusp of that zone. So I personally would probably take an entry around here. Tight stop loss, I would say even just the bottom of this guy, so maybe 60, 62 pips. And I believe we're going to be going to that blue. So 13 to 1 ratio. This could be a few weeks of a trade. Okay, and if I grab that fib extension on the opposite direction, this is what I see as far as a target. Right, so we can see it's going to be on the cusp there. Everything kind of lines up with those retracements. So as you can see, I've even had a trade idea here. Aud Jpy hasn't been very friendly to me, but even still, it's looking like a pretty decent setup. So I'm going to be watching it on the 4-hour EMA shift. So even if it does drop a little bit lower, perhaps the entry is going to be somewhere here. But as you see, EMA shifts are typically a safe bet, right? When they happen on the 4-hour, they tend to stay shifted for quite some time. Okay, even on this one, right? It shifts and it kind of close comes by, but it keeps going upwards, right? And the other thing I could think of is maybe this imbalance is what's going to drop down and get filled. Either way, my whole thing is going to be looking for a trade around this area, but for the EMA shift to happen first on the 4-hour. Okay, I'll just leave up the trade idea somewhere here. All right, AUD USD. Beautiful trade, hit TP, done deal, 6.6 to 1. And as you can see, it was right in that zone where I was expecting it to go to, and now it's kind of rejecting off there. We'll see if it starts to climb, because AUD, again, when they get news, that means it'll be stronger than the USD for maybe a week. Can't see it being longer than that. However, if we do have our bottom in, let's say a potential retracement could be all the way up to here. for another potential drop further. And that would kind of make sense with that NASDAQ review that I did earlier on, only because I am expecting a little bit of a drop followed by a long but slow rally. Long but slow. I think that's kind of redundant, isn't it? A slow rally upwards of about 2,000 points. There we go. That's a little more clear. All right. Moving on, let's see. Cad Jpy, kind of a dud as well. I was expecting a climb, but it's just been kind of hovering around these zones. So honestly, I would say this might be a pretty decent snipe because it's not making new lows. It's having a really difficult time passing this area where the wicks are. So you see and every single time it just doesn't close past that. Like that was the low originally, the candle closed, finally it hit that. And the significance is really not a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of used as support and resistance, but it's not major. Oh, sorry for yawning. It's always the problem of filming at night. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I find that to be another potential area for entry. JPY's kind of had its day in the sun, you know, this giant shift downwards. And I think we're looking to be around that same zone as the AUD. So even if we go fib retracement from this bottom to this height, you can see it's exactly at that 618. It's struggling to go lower. Fib channel, 918, and a support line almost with 618 EMA right here on the 4-hour. You know, let's see on the 6-hour what we're looking at as far as EMAs go. Not really a whole lot. It was just rejecting off the white on the 6-hour. Daily, it's, you know, it's still very, very bullish. So yeah, I mean, looking for a decent entry around this area. Same sort of idea, right? It's going to be, if this is going to be a snipe, super tight stop loss. I would just move it right here on the EMA, maybe a 40 pip stop loss. And then at least to close off this entire imbalance, right? So a 7, maybe 6.5 to 1. That would be a short-term trade idea. Realistically, though, I could even see it coming back up here or making new highs, right? So as long as the entry is good, maybe off a 4-hour EMA shift again, but you know, two potential chances. I may just get it right off that line if that happens. We'll see how the open looks like tomorrow. If it actually does reject or go higher, let's see on the 1-hour. Maybe there'll be some better information. Yeah, you know, maybe even if there's an EMA shift on the 1-hour, I could probably risk it at that point. But yeah, still a deeper stop loss. I would still put it below this line, even if the shift is somewhere here, let's say. Stop loss would be just below that support. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully that snipe ends up working out. Okay, so that's a pretty decent entry right there. Let's see. The Euro AUDs, man, that was painful. Ugh, so rough. Entry was almost looking good, and then junk. So this was a dud, unfortunately. Bit of a bummer, but that's okay. What I do see happening here, though, if I switch this to the daily, is a very long-awaited retracement. It could potentially get back to that 618 where that EMA is. We'll see. I'm not entirely confident about taking anything here. Excuse me again. Even though that there is divergence. So anyway, I'll keep an eye on this, but I'm not interested in any trade ideas. I want to see how it plays out over the next few days. Eurocad, same thing, right? I mean, kind of blew right through that 618, so either it's going to make a deeper retracement or it's going to make a new high. Judging with the strength of the euro, I don't think that's going to happen. This is just kind of a deeper pullback than expected. You know, but one way or another, I'm not going to be looking to take any trades off Eurocad right now. Euro GBP, this was just bonkers. Like, what a crazy ass move, honestly. This is like, how do you plan for something like this realistically, right? So let's see how it looked like on a smaller time frame, because this is just, I mean, you could see all this movement, and then suddenly we have, 1 hour candle that's 235 pips, followed by, the wick of the next one, which all the way up to 310. So not something that would be a rational trade. Like, how did this actually look like? Here we go. This is on the 15-minute. All right, so within 15 minutes, and again, it's probably more significant. It happened on a shorter time frame, but anyway. Well, let's grab the ruler from the bottom to the top right here. That's on top of the candle even. 215 pips in 15 minutes. Like, that's just interesting. But then as you see, it pulled back hard, right? But it isn't, it hasn't made a new low. So that is what I'm kind of looking at right now, right? It's dropped down, but it's kind of hovering around here. Hasn't made a new low yet. But yeah, I'm not really going to be looking at taking any trades off Euro GBP right now. There is no news, so I believe it's just going to continue on downwards. However, this would probably be a good pair to trade for the Scholar Strat. And I'm going to make another video starting this week about three pairs that I'm just going to watch. And I'll show you how many wins and losses and break-evens happen within the week. Okay, and that's just purely based off of trends. Okay, nothing else. So, Euro GBP, I would say, is that something I'd want to take? Probably not. It looks like all the lines are compressing together and about to consolidate. So I'll leave that alone. Euro JPY. Similar idea here. I believe that this zone right here could be a good potential entry for a sell. Like this was a great entry for a buy, actually, right? If we take the GAN on that 1 hour, right, wick to wick, and look at that, it's crazy. Right off that 50% and up it goes. That is, it would have been 25 pips stop loss, but all the way to the bottom, 90. Right, so a 90 pip stop loss at the bottom of that candle, currently sitting at 363 pips in profit. So almost, what is that? Almost 4 to 1? Yeah, 4 to 1. 360 into 90, right? Math. All right, so that's invalid now. Euro NZD, definitely not interested anymore. Euro USD. Euro USD was fantastic. It did what it needed to do. Trade idea was great way back in early September, and it just kept going. Look at this. You see what I'm saying when it comes to the EMA shifts, right? I mean, if you manage to hang on at about this point in time, it only really shifted up around here. So worst case, it would have been around 13.3 to 1. Best case, somewhere around 16.75 to 1. This was a fantastic trade idea. So pat on the back for that one. Thank you very much. All right. Right, and a 35 pip stop loss. So nice and tight, fantastic win. This trade itself lasted about 9 days, I believe. But this right here is the trouble, you see? Where it pulled back to break even before it dropped. This would have sucked, right? Because typically, like I said, I move my stop loss to break even once I'm in profit of my entire stop loss, right? So if that would have wicked and knocked me out, I would have re-entered as soon as I see it close below that, right? With the same parameters. So this was a nice win. Not exactly a 16.7 for me. It was more of an 8 to 1. But, overall, it was still a very nice and chunky run, right? I set my TP where I had it before, so I wasn't going to get greedy. But worked out nicely. So I'm going to pull that one off and just leave it there for that nice win. Okay. GBP AUD. Let's see on the daily, what can we expect? Oh, it's so messy. All right. Jeez, I hate these sort of predicaments. Like on the daily, it's just doing nothing, right? All the volume is sitting right there. Quite possibly, we could see another 200 pip climb before it drops. Maybe 150, 160, something like that. Not overly confident. Like just that sharp move from GBP makes me a little weary of its current trajectory, right? It hit off that aqua line, you can see, and again, AUD pairs have a very nasty habit of doing crazy shit like that. So, you know, maybe maybe if you take a buy or a sell, just set TP at a ridiculous amount, you might actually get it to trigger. Anyway, so GBP Cad, right, not as volatile. We don't have those kind of crazy moves as before. But GBP had quite the rejection. So far what I'm seeing is if I draw a fib from the last peak right here all the way to the low on the daily, I'm seeing, yeah, you see everything's kind of correlating around this particular area. So this would be my area for entry. Let's see how that works. I don't believe we're going to be getting there in the next few days anyway. Maybe by the time of the next video, that could be a potential entry. All the GBPs were a mess. GBP JPY was bonkers. Look at this. How do you enter a trade? But oh my goodness. You see, I had this line drawn up a long time ago based off of all of this support. Oh, what a miss. Just not paying attention. Oh, it's the hard thing when it's one person going off of technical analysis, right? Like it's such a... that's okay. All right, but I'll show you what the potential could have been. The stop loss would, like, even if it's the 60 pip stop loss, like I keep saying, right? Look at this. 1,200 pips so far in profit. 22.5 to 1. I mean... No, 60 pip, right? Let's do that 60, like I said. Here we go. Oh, 20 to 1. It's just, like... Yeah, so... I mean, the only crappy thing is there's really nothing else in play besides the support line. Right? Nothing besides the support line. Like, it broke through the EMAs. It's not rejecting off them. The only other potential thing that I could see is if I draw a fib from its last retracement value to its high, right? I mean, it did kind of bounce off the golden zone, but realistically, it wasn't even a 618 move. It was closer to the 50%. Yeah, I mean, the support was really the only thing. I mean, if I've 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 indicators that just show me that, it's kind of a gamble. Right? It's just this one would have definitely paid off. Well, you know, a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. It's gonna, I believe it's gonna hit this area once again before it drops lower. GBP does have strength, but overall, like if we go on the weekly, we can see that this has been dropping for years and years overall. And in these past years, it's just been doing a whole lot of nothing. Right, just consolidating, going up to a higher zone and consolidating. And even on the weekly, you're starting to see that black EMA form, which is the 987, and it hasn't closed. Maybe right here it did, but it otherwise just wicked above it. So I have a feeling that the potential entry for this one for a sell is pretty good. Let's see if we can find a candle pattern to bounce off of. Nothing, maybe whatever information's in these wicks. Let's see, 1 hour, imbalance, it's almost filled anyway. Good potential though, could reject off of that. This wick, what do we have in here? Probably a whole lot of nothing either. Let's switch that to a 15. Nope. 5, 3. Look at this. 1. And now you see what happens in less than a minute. Right? Look at this stupid thing. Less than a minute, folks. Oops. Let's try it again. Less than 1 minute. It goes up and down 169 pips. So that's 300. Jeez, what was it? 340 pips up and down within 1 minute? Yeah. Not exactly something I'm looking forward to jumping in on, right? However, all of this left one giant imbalance. Or did it? Right? I mean, all the moves that happened there, it was probably just a stop hunt. So where we're sitting at right now with that wick, I would say, you know what? Let's use that as potential information. Let's grab on the 4 hour. The wick is still going to exist. Okay, we're sitting right here right now. It's a good chance that this will pop up even in this area. So, oh yeah, we didn't check this one, did we? Yeah, that's just the imbalance. So, let's see. 2 potential ideas. I'm just going to draw it from the gap that's missing. All right. We are almost there. Extend it a little bit further. That's what I can see. And if it does go higher, it'll be around this guy. And I mean, it's going to be massive, right? Like we're talking hundreds of pips here. So those are the 2 potential entries. I wouldn't even bother taking them unless there's a shift on a 4 hour, right? There's really no point in trying to risk this. So something like that, right? I mean, what is 60 pips, the most that I want to do. Is that going to fit? Nope. Is it going to fit here? Almost. Anyway, so if it gets to that area and does an EMA shift, that would seem pretty reasonable. All right, that's kind of as far as I want to gamble with the Gbp JPY. Not interested. NZDs suck. Okay, so here is an actual interesting pair that was going to do the retracement. Boom. And I know I have my RV pivots up. I'll just get rid of them for now. So this might actually be a decent spot for an entry. EMA shift area, 60 pips. All right, potential new low. So yeah, I mean, something like a 14-to-1. Let's see how that works out. Back to blue. Bitcoin, still drawn up. I'm expecting it to pull up here. It's just taking a sweet-ass time. Ethereum's just consolidating. Not interested. Although, I mean, this is pretty straightforward move, right? It's just going down this entire time. Every NZD pair has been crashing, which is a little surprising, right? NZD has a very high cash rate, but it's been tanking. So what's the significance of this tanking? Let's see. Is it pulling back to a specific area? Is there a retracement in its future? And I mean, it is making higher highs, but it's typically taken a long time for it to play out, right? Like we're talking half a year, third of a year. Not really interested. This was kind of a dud too, NZD JPY. I thought it was going to pull back nice and hard, but did a whole lot of nothing. So, too bad. The Euro JPY would have been the best trade potential right here. I did delete it actually, but that would have been the best one right here. It's exactly the move I was kind of looking for. And why did I delete that anyway? No, because I didn't enter it. I entered NZD JPY. And that was kind of a bummer. And this had a 90 pip stop loss, right? So a little bit heavy. I did mention it. It was a 4-to-1. Yeah. Okay. Jeez. I'm spacing out. Anyway, back to the NZDs. Don't like it, getting rid of it. Trade idea, bye-bye. We'll see how the rest of the stuff goes. It's going to form some new stuff. I don't really see a decent entry right now. Excuse me. Yeah, so that was a bit of a dud. Way back here would have been decent, but that's like over a year ago. USD Cad. This was, oh, yeah. You saw that trade idea that I set up, folks. Like, it would have been really nice. Everything was lining up. But no, it had to go sooner. Oh, what a brat. What a brat, guys, honestly. It was how far away? 40 pips from entry, right? And look at this thing go. 40 pips away from entry. If entry would have triggered, it'd be up 864 pips. Give me a break, right? That's all it would have to be. How much would that ratio been? It wouldn't have even been that deep, right? Oh, man, what a... Oof. Well, again, could have done that on an EMA shift. It technically did happen after that candle. Would have had to been a steep move down for this entire thing, right? So, I mean, 3-to-1 on a 228 pip stop loss. That's a little rich for my blood. However, on the 4-hour, what are we seeing? EMA shift at the end right there. Stop loss to be bottom of that candle. So 70 pips would have been reasonable, right? And as you can see, EMA shift, right? This is all you really need to pay attention to sometimes. And then shift back down, still 500 pips in profit, 7.2-to-1. Easy win. Oh well, didn't work out this time. USD CHF, this was pretty good. Super close, right? I mean, 63.9. So if this was at 60, rough. But if it was at 65, yeah, it doesn't matter though, guys. If it triggers, hit a stop loss, that would have been out, right? Even though that this moved nicely, as predicted, this tiny little stupid wick. Oh well. Okay, so that's that. USD JPY. Probably pull back down to this area before it goes up. And this troublesome bastard. US oil, from what I learned, actually there is a surplus right now of oil. That's why it's starting to drop. But yeah, the value of oil is dropping, but gas prices are still the same. It's at 70, what do you see, $79 a barrel right now. And prices are... what's the equivalent? So let's go on the daily. And the last time a barrel of oil was around this, even at $84 a barrel, was last October. Okay, last October, gas prices were approximately $1 to $1.20 a liter for me anyway. So that would have been probably half price in the U.S., depending on what state you live in. But yeah, just using my home area, it was around $1.15. Yeah, let's say $1.15 on average. Now it's sitting at $1.50, right? So it's about 26%, 28% higher than what it was back here. And yeah, for apparently no reason. So suffering will keep coming. Silver looked pretty decent. It had a sharp pullback, so I'm not really interested. So XTI, yeah. I was expecting a pullback from down here to go a little higher and then drop to snag that candle institutional right there, but it did not. So we're heading into kind of unknown territory. I mean, I want to say if we draw the fib from this low to this high, same as we did way, way long ago, it's right off the 786, deeper retracement. But yeah, this is something I'm going to be looking for a 4-hour shift on. Once that happens, I will be very comfortable in jumping in on the trade. Okay, even here, I mean, that would have been pretty painful, and then it shifted back down, so that would have sucked, right? But a 4-hour EMA shift on the 4-hour, sorry, not the daily, right? So even when it happened there, it did shift up here, kind of teetered, and then dropped once, and then went right back up. It's just been looking pretty junky. But yeah, see, similar idea, right? EMA shift happened right here. Would have been able to snag maybe, yeah, around 200 pips, 200 points, something like that. 2,000. However you want to look at it, I still consider it as 100 rather than 1,000 there. And yeah, just keeps wanting to go lower. But look how simple this is to read. Look, the last peak right here to the bottom. Look at that, 618. Okay, same idea. Here's a peak, here's the bottom, 618. We can do this all day. Okay, and it's pretty sad because this is incredibly obvious to be able to keep taking sells. All right, look at this. Peak, bottom, didn't quite get there, so there's the bottom, right? A little higher, but 618 area was right there. What's the difference between that and the 786? See, 3,000 or $3 upper or below is pretty reasonable, right? So that would have been a pretty nice win. Now look, fib from here to the low, you know, it's barely at the 50%, so should we count it? It all really depends. Anyway, that's kind of it for Forex. I'm just going to start jabbering on, so not really much else to discuss. If you want to see, yeah, totally not the way I expected it to go. So yeah, Dow Jones has its own ideas. It's moving actually very similarly to NASDAQ, so that's all right. Maybe it's going to hit that support line like it did before. We'll see. Not really paying attention to US 30. There's really not many stocks I'm interested in taking from that anyway. The majority of stocks I like are on the NASDAQ. So yeah, I hope this has been informative, folks. Catch my final video, the Scholar Strategy. I'm going to make that one very brief and show you the wins and losses. Until then, see you next time.